Hello everyone! Full disclosure, I planned this whole video in September last year, and then I released the first part of it in November last year, and since then I haven't really been much into Attack on Titan. I haven't read the manga since chapter 134. I know, I'll get to it, but I have in good authority that all those theories that I wrote back in September, and there's some are mine, some are from other sources that I have, most of them still stand. So here we go, as always, manga spoilers, and get ready for it. Fast Kid is the man holding the baby in the last panel. Okay, so this was a big theory for me, and I got really upset when he died in 131, but still I think it's possible somehow. The idea is just that it would be such a funny twist since we've been debating this for so long. The big possibilities according with body shape, hair, and story-wise would be the Jaegers, either Grisha, Zeke, or Eren. But what if it was actually Fast Kid? I mean, Ramzi. All grown up, being a rumbling survivor, and having his family and his kid. It's quite nice to think of it. Maybe even being a time loop survivor. Who knows? I don't want to give up on my theory. Also, there's a theory back when he showed up in Eren's broken memory panels that he was actually Armin and Mikasa's kid, but I'll get to that one and the time loop theory. Yelena knows Eren's true plan. Yelena definitely knows something. There must be a reason why she's still around when everyone else is dying. She is now their informant, and that could be tricky since she could just be playing with them. The reason why she keeps talking without torture or anything like that is because she believes it's all said and done and it can't be stopped. Now it's odd she's not considering her home country and her family dying and all that. Maybe she just doesn't have anyone or doesn't care about that stuff. But in the end, we can clearly see she fully trusts whatever Eren is doing. She definitely knows a lot more than she's telling, and maybe she's not all that crazy. Maybe whatever Eren's goal is, it could be something reasonable. It could be, and what is Eren's main goal anyways? He can't be that stupid and childish, right? We are all hoping for something more deep than just killing everything and everyone, so here are my two possibilities. First, Eren wants to end all Titans in the time loop. Maybe whatever Eren is doing or where he's going will somehow destroy the world as it is, and the timeline will change, ending all traces of Titans in history and setting up a new timeline with a more normal world, more similar of what we live in real life. That's a probable ending, since we know there will be some time-related event somehow related to how it all ends, if we consider the first chapter title. I personally don't like that idea because a time reset is the most cliche ending ever. Second, Eren wants to bring Ymir back into a corporeal form. This is another possibility. The idea that Eren's going to a specific place to free Ymir and let her back into our plane of existence, which would be a very bad idea. But it ties up with my first theory. Maybe he just feels bad for her and wants to help her somehow. Mikasa and Armin already have a child. Let's go back to the time Fast Kid was an unknown to all of us. There was that theory that that's who he was, for sure. But I'm gonna go further than that. There's so much we don't know because of the time skip, which is very convenient for Isayama. He can just fix or add any plot points just in case, since he has 4 years of a gap that he can fill with whatever he wants. So where does this comes from? Mostly their behavior, general dress code, portrayal around their other friends, and how they are addressed by them. This could just be a natural evolution of their characters from what they already were in the years before. But they just seem to be portrayed as more aged and mature than the rest of the 104th. And more importantly, their plot lines are usually involving children, especially Falco and Gabi, or as I like to call them, Little Reiner and Little Eren. Interestingly, in their chapter 125 marital dispute, they are depicted in a specific angle that makes the manga reader have this perspective of a child. So it's kind of like watching your parents fight. Or maybe that's just Little Eren's perspective in Paths, watching them fight. Could be that. And of course they are fighting about Eren because that's the only thing they fight about. I guess now we can also see who is more mature in their fights now, huh? It's Mikasa. If it was Armin before, it definitely isn't anymore. Also, for some reason they seem very close with the Browse family, and that's the sad part of this theory. If Mikasa and Armin were in a relationship mid-time skip, and they did already had a first child, I'm going with time constraints here. We know Mikasa wouldn't just stop at one. But let's just hope the rumbling ends before we can consider baby number 2, okay? Being both officers of the military, the big guess here is that the kid would stay with the Browse sometimes. That would make sense considering Mikasa and Sasha's friendship, and their close relationship with the Browse family after her death. Sorry for bringing that up. Just to clarify, at this point in time, I guess they wouldn't be with the Browse because they are in mourning, and the Browse family was a big part of the storyline a few chapters ago, so the idea here is that at this point in time the kid would be in Historia's orphanage. After all, it would make sense for them to leave this grieving family with the burden of a toddler to deal with as well. So it would make sense that the next option will be to stay with Auntie Historia. They definitely seem closer to the family than John and Connie, for instance. Going back to the idea that those two single dudes versus what a married couple would be, interacting just in society and in general. We can consider that they are 104th, they are all the same age, and it would be weird for them to be in a serious relationship being this young. But there's a couple of things we gotta consider here. First, they already found their happiness in some way. Armin's dream was to see beyond the walls and the ocean, and Mikasa's dream was for things to go back to be as they were when they were kids. And they had outside explorations and some relative peace or a controlled peace situation in these last years. So you could say they have achieved their personal goals. And second, more importantly, and I'm sorry for bringing that up and breaking your heart again, Armin is only supposed to live until he's 28. So, better stop living that happy life while you still have time to do so. They already have a kid. It's Little Eren. The Wall Titans were made by a combination of the Warhammer, the Colossal, plus the Founders Orders. We got 122 with a 2000 years ago flashback, and that was cool and all, but where is our 100 years ago flashback? We don't know much about Karl Fritz or the Titan War or the Tybur family or how all those colossal titans came to be exactly. The theory here is that those pure titans could be a combination of the Warhammer and the colossal spinal fluid, plus the founder controlling them in place. They having Warhammer abilities in some level would be more realistic for the wall forming around them than the founder ordering the Warhammer to do so on its own. I mean, that's a lot of crystal and 3 huge walls. The bad part here would be that those wall titans would be stronger than regular pure colossal titans and would be definitely harder to kill. So you go, Hanji. But also, guess who could also have somewhat of a Warhammer colossal combination if you consider a previous theory here? Maybe even memories of whatever happened in Fritz's time. Maybe those 100 years ago colossal memories would be stronger than Berthold's, and that's why he needs that extra help there. There's definitely some key plot points for what happened 100 years ago that Sayama is still holding off. So we should expect some flashback to that at some point before the end. And even if the Armin Tybur theory is not valid, we still cannot forget that Armin is the Colossal Titan. And that's where those guys come from. So he probably still knows something or how to defeat them. And maybe he is withholding information about his memories from 100 years ago. Those precious memories that Eren wanted so much that he ate Miss Tybur. Maybe he just wanted to eat her anyways. Poor Miss Tybur.